All right, I'm Josh from Vacuums R Us and Sewing 2 in Arvada and Boulder, Colorado. Today we have a rug doctor. The machine has a symptom of nose spray. The machine turns on, motor runs, suction appears to function. However, the machine does not spray. There are essentially two things that can cause this. There's a number of things that cause it. There's two things that commonly cause it. The first, which is very easy, inside this water reservoir container, there is a metal screen that goes over the water intake pipe. You have two screws here. If you've already checked this, go ahead and skip forward. We're going to do a pump replacement in a second in this video. So inside here, deep down inside here, you'll look through into there, you have a metal screen that goes over this end of, oop, it's broken, cool. Popped right out. So you have this metal screen that goes over that tube. These commonly get covered with animal hair that kind of works its way into the reservoir, and that can cause it not to get water to the pump. Another thing can happen is, as you just saw, I pulled on it and it popped right out. They can get loose and they'll kind of be kicking around up here up top, and they're not inside the water, and so you're not getting water in there. Now I am not sure why this one came loose. There's a little notch down here, which you just kind of have to do it by feel. And you just you're gonna push that screen is right here up in front, and it kind of fits right in there is where I'm putting it back in. But on this machine, we'd actually already checked this. That filter is perfectly okay. So the most common reason these do not spray, very simply, is that the pump has failed. Very normal. There's some other electrical issues up in the handle with switches that can cause that as well. But that is very rare, and it is also a royal pain in the butt. So we're going to do a pump replacement on this right now, because that's the easiest repair to do when you have no spray, and it's also, fortunately, the most common reason you have no spray. So I'm going to flip the thing over, and I'm going to give you a bunch of shortcuts, a bunch of ways to get this done easier. There are a few old service manuals from Rug Doctor kicking around that have you pulling off these wheels and doing all kinds of shenanigans. There's an easier way to do it. So I'm going to pop off this plastic shroud as well as this bottom plastic shroud right here. And there's a whole bunch of screws, just pop them out. Remember right here, you had the single screw that did not have a washer on it. Okay, so now I have all the bottom screws out, and I'm gonna pop this out. So we at Vacuums R Us, we do sell these pumps. You can order them, have them shipped to you. There's no charge for shipping. We have some very basic instructions in the shipping box about how to install a pump. Most of the instructions just tell you to watch this video. So I'm gonna flip it up so you can see it a little bit better, but I'm actually gonna work on it upright. So your pump is right here. You have a water pipe here, and you have a water pipe here going in, and then you have some electrical connections back here, which are kind of the wires are zip tied together. Some of these pumps have clamps on both sides. Some only have clamps on the one side. These are not traditional wire hose clamps. They're press-on hose clamps, and boy, they are a pain to get off. If you have a real hard time getting them off, you can actually just cut the hose off right there, and you have enough play that you can push the hose onto the new pump. I don't like doing that because for machines that are used a lot, you may be doing multiple pump replacements throughout the life of the machine. If you're dealing with maybe a machine that you do rentals on or something like that, and if you keep cutting the hose, you're gonna run out of hose over time. So I just put my flathead screwdriver right in here, and I popped it up, and that hose clamp loosened right up for me. Oftentimes though, that you can't get to it. Sometimes you just have to take pliers and kind of crush the thing. It's quite a pain in the butt. These are usually very tight. You have to pull really hard. If you can't get them off by just yanking on them, you can heat it up with a heat gun or a hairdryer if you don't have a heat gun. And that will help to loosen them up, and they'll come off a lot easier. one side, and there's the other side. Okay, so now we're pretty loose. We got stuff hanging down here. We got plenty of room to work. Didn't need to pull the wheels off. Taking these wheels off is problematic. Again, some of the older instruction manuals have you doing that, and the issue is the caps that go on the wheels will break when you take them off, and there can be difficult to get those. It can be difficult to get those caps. So I'm going to cut the zip tie that's holding this bundle of wires together. Be careful not to cut any wires that are behind it. And now you're going to have a whole pile of stuff coming out here, right? Whole pile of stuff. So you got 2 wires on your pump. You're gonna find there are all kinds of different pumps in these machines. I'm showing you one different kind, but depending on your rug doctor, you may have a very different looking configuration here. So on this one, for example, we have a very small wire here and a larger gauge wire here, right? You may have 2 wires that are the same size. There's any number of scenarios that you might run into. So I'm gonna unplug the one pump wire, and then I'm gonna unplug the other pump wire. They are color coded, so it's pretty easy to get this back together. Okay, so now I have the 2 wires that are still on the machine. You'll note that these wires are different gender. If your wires are the same gender, and this is very important, it depends on the model of your shampooer, but if these wires are both the same gender, the pump that you receive from us is going to have clips that are different genders, right? And they're not gonna match up. And the reason for that, and again, this is very important, is that there is a diode, an inline diode in the cord that is a separate piece on your cord, and you need to remove that piece of cord. And when you're done removing it, you will end up having 2 plugs of different gender. It looks a little bit like, so the new pumps have that diode integrated into their cord. It's right in there. And what you may find is you have a pump that looks like this, that has no diode on it, and the diode is inline in the cord that's up in here. And you can actually just remove that cord. It'll have a connection over here. On this pump that we're removing, this is one of the types of pumps where that diode is actually right there inside of it on the pump. So it's there. On this pump that you're going to be receiving from us, your diode is inside the cord. They've changed them a number of times based on supply availability. You never really know. You never really know what pumps are going to be available at this point. They all work. The connections just may look a little bit different. So I'm going to pop this out. This little rubber thing right here holds these pumps. These pumps essentially vibrate when they run. So this thing is cool because it kind of holds the pump loose, and it just kind of sits there and kind of loose and flops around in there and vibrates. So now, as I said, on the pump you receive from us, you're going to have 2 different genders. It actually does not matter which direction these wires plug in. Now this clip is a little bit off. The pump will work no matter which way you plug it in. So just plug in your connections here firmly, and these suckers plug in real tight, which is nice because you don't have to worry about stuff wiggling loose during use. So there we have that, all right? And what I like to do is I'll grab a zip tie, and I'm gonna kind of bunch this wire up again, kind of how it was before, get it out of the way, all right? A little bit of extra wire because my replacement pump here has the inline diode, so I got a little wad of wire there. Doesn't have to be pretty, but if you can make it compact, it'll be good because it'll just kind of fit up in there easier when you go to put this whole thing together. Zip that together. Okay, so there is that. The wires are out of the way, and we can, for sake of perfect, we'll put that right there. So now you need to hook up the hoses, right? I'm gonna pull this old hose clamp right off. So what I suggest you do is a hardware store or an auto body store will have hose clamps. I will post the size of hose clamps that you want to grab in the notes below this video. These are the clamps I would get. You simply use a screwdriver to tighten them up. Some of the older pump kits actually came with these crimp-on hose clamps. They require a special tool that no one owns, including myself. And the tool, you have to kind of get the tool in there. It was a royal pain in the butt. So we have always used these just standard, standard little hose clamps that you can screw back on. That's what we have always used. And so all you do, I'm gonna lay this down. All you do is pressure fit it on, and I'm gonna actually pressure fit on both sides. Make sure you get them all the way down. And you can be pretty rough. These rubber mounts are pretty solid buggers. And then you want to twist your hose clamp around so that you can fit a screwdriver in there, push the wires out of the way. Now it's starting to make sense why we clamp those wires together. And then I'm gonna get a longer screwdriver. I'm gonna use my screw gun. And we will go ahead and tighten up our hose clamps. And screw this down, tighten up these hose clamps. Probably would have been wise for me to tighten these hose clamps, close them up a little bit before I put it on here. It's kind of a cramped space to be tightening these things down. And I often will actually pre-tighten them so they're a little bit tighter. They're closer to where they have to be before I put them on, but I forgot in this case. Again, I'm gonna put a link in the description below where you can get these pumps from us. They have a 1-year warranty. And again, they ship free. You get them pretty quick. We usually ship, if you get your order in by around 2 to 3 o'clock Mountain Time, you should see shipping the same day. And you'll get it pretty quickly as a result. Oh, I twisted it around. There we go. This is actually common. I'm kind of glad that happened. This thing screws in, and as you move it around, this is the exhaust. It's actually the motor exhaust. It exhausts to the rear of the machine. If you twist this thing around, it will fall right off. Okay, we're all screwed back together. Remember, when you go to undo your machine, to take note of where the small screws are. There are 3 small screws, one of them being there. All right, and we will set it up, put some water in it, test fire, make sure we're spraying and picking up, and we will be good to go.